The Iran strike ended the special relationship, and it's out in the open. Britain is sidelined. Europe is issuing statements of absence.
Is there something deeper underlying the war in Iran? Is there a deeper reason for why Prime Minister Keir Starmer initially refused to allow US use of British bases for strikes on Iran? In this video, Susan Kokinda from Promethean Action deep dives into what's really going on. We'll also explore vision and how plans can help or hinder it. Before we get into the details, please like, share, subscribe, and be sure to leave us a comment.
Now let's talk about what the Iran strike did to the so-called special relationship, because this is where over 100 years of British manipulation of American policy is shattering right out in the open. When the strikes began on Saturday, Britain's position was extraordinary. The UK was informed Friday afternoon, not included. Starmer refused to let the US use the British bases in Diego Garcia or in Britain itself. Britain refused not because it developed a conscience about international law. It refused because it's no longer running the table. And the British press admitted that it is the end of the game for the special relationship, with a headline that read, "Starmer faces greater quandary over special relationship after Iran attack." And that article pointed out that Starmer appears to have had little influence on Trump, who went ahead regardless. Now, a conservative British channel put it even more bluntly in terms of the damage that's been done to the special relationship.
What are the implications, Piers Pottinger, for the special relationship in the context of Starmer's refusal to help?
I don't know, but I
don't think the Americans will forget.
No, I don't think so, and I think Trump will be, if indeed it's true that he wanted to use our bases and we didn't allow him, I think he will not forget that or forgive it.
But it wasn't just Britain. France, Germany, and the UK issued a joint statement clarifying first and foremost they did not participate in the strikes. Not a statement of strategy, a statement of absence. And the best the European Union could manage was Ursula von der Leyen sending a message to the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia. And here's what she said. "As our strategic partner, we will work closely with you to de-escalate and safeguard regional stability. You can count on our full support in these turbulent times. The European Union Gulf Cooperation Council partnership will only get stronger in the period ahead." Now, the responses to this on X were brutal. One commentator appropriately rephrased it, quote, "In other words, Trump won't take my call, and we have no clue what's going on." That's exactly right. And the statesman drilled down on the same point. The Iran war makes it official. America is breaking with Europe. So the special relationship is cracking in public. When Tehran calls, it calls Washington, not London. And the question worth asking is, how did that special relationship actually work? Not the photo ops and the state visits. What was the real mechanism? Part of the answer is former Prince Andrew. Let's go back to 2008 when the British were still happily directing American foreign policy. Andrew, then Britain's special representative for international trade, sat down in Kyrgyzstan with a room that included businessmen, government officials, and the American ambassador. The American ambassador wrote it all down in a cable, later published by WikiLeaks. And she told people that what Andrew told the room with astonishing frankness was the following. The United Kingdom, Western Europe, and by extension, you Americans too are now back in the thick of playing the great game. And this time we aim to win. He wasn't being metaphorical. He was describing it to an American diplomat on the record, the actual operating framework of British foreign policy. Not the public version dressed up in democracy and human rights, but the real version, in his official capacity as Britain's trade representative. Now Andrew's been arrested, the first royal arrest in centuries, on suspicion of misconduct in public office. The Epstein files contain evidence he was passing confidential trade reports into Epstein's networks. So the man who bragged about winning the great game was running British strategic intelligence through Jeffrey Epstein. That is not a personal scandal. That is the operating method of the imperial apparatus, now on public record. And shortly after Andrew's arrest came the arrest of Lord Peter Mandelson, who had been appointed by Starmer as Britain's ambassador to Washington, sent to manage the special relationship at the very moment Trump came in for his second term. The Epstein files show that Mandelson was passing advanced knowledge of British financial policy into the same networks. So the geopolitical operative and the financial operative, both out on bail, arrested, both exposed at the same moment the apparatus itself is being dismantled. The Iran strike ended the special relationship, and it's out in the open. Britain is sidelined. Europe is issuing statements of absence. Tehran is calling Washington. And simultaneously, the men who ran the real special relationship, Andrew running the geopolitical side, Mandelson running the financial intelligence, are on the chopping block, taken off the board together. This is not a coincidence. This is the end of geopolitics. Now,
Has the long-standing special relationship with Britain and the US been jeopardized by Starmer? Susan Kokinda breaks down the issue as she takes us into the unknown. Kokinda frames the geopolitical tension with Iran not as an isolated conflict, but a strategic operation that represents an explosive shift in global geopolitics following recent developments in Iran. She shares her insights about geopolitical issues she has been following for decades. Kokinda also ties in the corridors of power in London and the shadowy networks that have long influenced global policy, with figures such as Epstein, Mandelson, and Prince Andrew to explain why a break from the great game is causing panic in London. She discusses the UK exclusion from key strategic decisions and Prime Minister Starmer's initial refusal to allow the use of British bases, which marks a public cracking of the transatlantic alliance. The mainstream media and some politicians make it seem as if President Trump has no idea or plan for what he's doing. Starmer said he didn't want to join in the war where there seemed to be no clear plan. President Trump does not seem to be a person without a plan. He's always a step or two ahead of everyone else. Even with this Iran situation, he seems to be outplaying those who are against him. Trump built most of the skyline in New York. You cannot do that kind of job without a vision and a plan. As a leader, sometimes not everything works according to plan, but your vision drives you to get it done, no matter how difficult things get. Be a leader with courage who is willing to go after what presents itself as a danger or threat to your people and your neighbors, allies, and society at large. Stand up for real justice and peace, even if you have to override outdated international laws. Let your vision guide you all the way, because a vision without a plan leads to destruction. But a plan without a vision is merely bureaucracy, directionless, soulless, and ultimately doomed to fail. Vision is a timeless leadership principle. It is the clear destination, the defined direction, the intended outcome that keeps you focused and moving forward, even when the path is uncertain or the plan has to change. A great leader starts with a vision and makes plans according to that vision, so the desired transformation can take place. In geopolitics, that means holding to a clear outcome, neutralizing threats, reshaping alliances, achieving real security, even when the path shifts or partners hesitate over perfect plans. Nations and leaders who lead with vision stay ahead and shape the future. Those stuck waiting for every detail to line up risk being left behind. Do you believe that Starmer and Labour are leaving Britain behind? Please leave your thoughts in the comments.